It's 8 o'clock, and we will call the Redevelopment Commission meeting to order. And roll call: Ann McGinnis.
Here.
BJ Deputy. Ken Austin. Here. Paul Buning. Here. Krista Ott.
Here.
And Richard Works. We have a quorum and need a motion for approval of the minutes, unless there's a question.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have no old business. So at this time, we'd like to welcome the Franklin Development Corporation to the podium, and we look forward to your comments.
Thank you.
Kim, do you want to?
I was like, do you have the?
Yeah, give me 1 second here, and I have this pulled up. And
Good, how are you?
Good. Good.
too many FDCs and RDCs.
Too many.
Yeah. Sorry.
Comic books.
They're on one. Very, okay.
DCs.
Too many DCs. There we go. There we go. Finish this.
I appreciate that.
It's loading.
10 minutes.
Maybe. Here you go.
Okay.
Wait, where do I go?
Oh, the bottom right.
Obviously, I don't do this often. Okay. Good morning. I'm Kim Casting with Franklin Development Corporation. Thank you for having us here this morning. It's time to do an update for you all. There's lots of new faces, I think, since last time we were here. I mean, new familiar faces. So thanks for having us. We do have several of our board members here this morning, so you guys just want to all the women of the group. So 2020 programming, we were still able to do, was it a weird year? All of us know that. But we were able to do 6 small business grants totaling $50,000, 2 residential projects totaling $30,000, and 6 facade grants totaling $59,300. In 2021, so far this year, we've completed 2 residential projects totaling $40,000. We've done 1 commercial loan grant for $84,291, and 7 facade grants totaling $128,821. So, as you can see, people are still taking advantages of the programs that we offer at the Franklin Development Corporation. But over the past several years, what we've heard from RDC and the mayor, housing has become one of the focal points as well in the downtown area. So a couple of years ago, we just started looking at tax sale properties because there was new legal changes that made it okay for tax sale properties to get transferred to the city, and then the city could transfer those on. We've been able to do 8 of those properties, I believe, Krista. But in recent years, with the housing market the way that it is, there's not been very many of those properties available within the TIF district. So this year we purchased our first property outside the TIF. We used money that had been repaid through the interest that had been repaid through loans to purchase this property on Purple Drive. This was a tax sale property. We did have to purchase one of the parcels. There was actually 3 parcels with this property, but we were able to negotiate with the property owner to get that at a reasonable rate. So this was the property before, and we're currently working on it. Oh, so here's some of the budget for that. So we had to do clear title. We worked with the street department to help clean up that property. We worked with Franklin Heritage. They had a cleanup day over there. The total project rehab is estimated to be around $98,000. So total project cost with all of that, the purchase and change order, and is estimated to be around $107,000. So what we plan to do with these the monies that we make off of this property, because we anticipate being able to list it for 150 to 200, probably closer to that 200 mark actually. This money then will go in and be used to maybe purchase potential other properties that are outside the TIF. We currently actually have one in the works as well, that we'll get to in just a second. But we are currently working on 280 Circle Drive, and it should be on the market, I would think, before the end of the year. So it's coming along nicely. These were the renderings we had done for the property. So it went from a 3-bedroom, 1-bath to 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We were able to add a bathroom in this. Stout Construction is doing the project for us. They're amazing, on time, quick turnaround. We did a site visit a couple weeks ago, the board did, and she's doing an excellent job over there. So, as I said, we'll have that property on the market hopefully before the end of the year. It's going well so far. It's kind of a trial run. We haven't really done a project ourselves. So it will be a case-by-case like evaluation of whether we continue to do that and what's most beneficial for FDC that matches our mission. We also had the opportunity to look at 650 Hurricane Street. This has always been a problem property for the city. It's a blighted property, and honestly, it's not much of a house, to be honest. I've been in there, and I prefer to not go back in there. It's definitely unsafe. So we had the opportunity to purchase this property last spring, and we are currently evaluating what we can do with this property. As I said, it's not structurally sound. It is a blighted property in the neighborhood and has been a problem for the city, numerous police runs and so forth over many, many years. So what we will do with the proceeds from the Circle Drive property and the other funds that we have from interest paid back from other commercial loans and residential loan programs is the next steps with this property. We've currently had a few contractors out there looking at it to see if they can renovate it or if it needs to be just torn down. We did have some renderings drawn on what it could look like. So this is the potential that this property could have, but we need to continue to further investigate whether it's actually worth saving because as you can see, that front little structure is pretty much the only structure that would be saved from that property, but it might not be worth saving at that point. But we were able to purchase the lot for $17,000, which at this time the lot is probably even valued at more than that, even if it was just an empty lot. So we'll continue to look at that. But as I said earlier, this was part of conversations that we had with other RDC members, former RDC members in the city, is to start taking a look at some of these problem properties, whether they be in the TIF or outside the TIF, in downtown Franklin, and start trying to clean up some of these spaces. As I said, we do have a few of our board members here. Myself, Tina Gross is here, Lisa Jones, Amy Richardson. David couldn't be with us this morning, or could Dustin. Dustin's our resident. He's a real estate agent and also flips houses. So he's the one that's very valuable and essential when we're doing these properties. And Amanda is also here with us this morning, so thanks for joining us. If you don't know, FDC does own this property at 351 East Jefferson Street. Many years ago, the RDC relayed the importance of us being able to sustain our operations as a nonprofit organization because they wanted all of their funding potentially go back directly to programs here in the community. So this building was purchased, rehabbed by the FDC, and we currently have renters in here and lease that space. And that helps pay for our operations on an annual basis. I won't go through these numbers with you, but as you can see, we're able to do that for interest income and all of those things in the rental from that facility and that space. Yeah, this is a future program for restricted funds. So I'll go back to the affordable housing. We had a presentation last week on this, and it is an issue here in the community that we have affordable housing for all ranges, and including in downtown. If you look on any MLS listing, whatever, there are no houses really in the Franklin area under the $200,000 mark. So we're going to try to find some of these problem properties in downtown Franklin and continue to look at those properties and try to get some of those blighted areas back on the market and on the tax rolls and fix up. So, any questions?
Kim, can you tell me if anyone knows, maybe if anyone on your board or someone in the crowd, what's the homes going for, say, in the Roberts Road, Churchill, Douglas Drive, Yonge Street, on the north end? What are those homes going for currently? Do anyone know by chance?
Marissa, that she flips a lot of houses. She actually gave us some comps that we could use for the Circle Drive house. Mm-hmm. And she had just sold one around the corner for over 200. So I know it's crazy. The market is crazy. Our goal is still to keep these in affordable housing because at some point they don't become affordable anymore, you know. So we're the organization and the nonprofit that can still make these houses and flip them around and make them nice and get them in that price point where we need to have that price point for some of our residents.
It's interesting that, homes are going for that kind of money up there.
Yeah.
I was hoping that we had quite a bit of what I would consider affordable housing in the city. But with that said, it seems to me that they're going for $200,000.
It's
Which
being out of
is-
that affordable range for some incomes.
Those are big numbers for those homes.
Mm-hmm.
We're traditionally 100,000 in the past, 120,000.
Mm-hmm.
80, etc.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Kim, on the facade you've done,
Mm-hmm.
is that mostly in the downtown area?
All the facade grants have to be in the TIF district. So that was the map there at the end.
Okay, the question though is, it was a big number. Are we just about complete with the facade program in the downtown area? There's still a few eyesores.
A lot of them have been completed. I don't know what that final number is right now. Krista may better know that. But there have been several of them completed. So a couple of years ago, I think we said that there were still like 81. Yeah. We're less than that now, but there are still opportunities for improvement. We did expand our facade grant program to include back alleys, visible alleys, and so forth. So people can start taking care of some of those eyesores too. Like potentially, if someone wanted to come to us with the backside of the buildings that face RFD and start fixing up some of that, there's potential for those property owners to start working on that as well.
And we've gone to a little bit more competitive process too. So we did this year and last year, we did 3 rounds of funding each year. And so we didn't fund all of the applications that we received. And so there's not really a point system, but there are criteria where we give preference to more visible facades and those kinds of things. But we, like Kim said, we did open it up. We did some alley facing, and especially along like the pedestrian alleys that the RDC is paid to rehab. And so trying to kind of be a little bit more creative with that. But I think last time that we checked, we had done over 140 facades, which is obviously why downtown looks, as great as it does. But there were still something like 25% left that hadn't been touched at all. So there's still potential out there.
And there's several that have been awarded, and probably the eyesores maybe you're talking about, that the projects haven't been started yet, just because of construction delays.
Yeah.
So I know there's a few on Jefferson Street, I believe, that have been awarded, and they just haven't started as well. You can see that there's one going on right, the law firm right across the street, they're working on that one.
I think it's a wonderful program in the community that has benefited from all the hard work and the facade and the creating Franklin as a destination. I hope we continue and get all of them.
Yeah. So I guess today is our official request to continue that funding from RDC. 100,000 is, I think, what has been discussed amongst our board and with a few members of the RDC and the city. And so this would be our official request for that today. We appreciate the relationship that we've had with the RDC and all the workings we've had with the city to continue to beautify the downtown and take care of some of these properties too as well. So, any other questions?
Okay, we have your request, and I think the appropriate thing, how do you, the board, feel about granting the $100,000 for the 2022 funding season? Is that correct?
Well, it would be for 2021.
That's this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because last year, we did not request
We did
any
not
funds
request
last
funds.
year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Remainder of 2021.
Yeah.
2 months.
And I think in the past, sometimes, especially when the amount of programming has been larger, there's been some designation of, this much goes to facades and this much goes to residential or commercial. And with the money that comes from the RDC, the FDC is limited to properties that are in that designated TIF district. So we've had to try to be creative outside of that TIF district area. And so any funds that are awarded for programming would have to be spent in that designated TIF district area. So whether we're able to find another residential property in that designated area, or whether that goes into facades or the revolving loan program, I think we would like to request also that be flexible, just because of the way that the market is, and we will try to prioritize the residential properties, but just can't guarantee. The tax sale was 2 weeks ago. There were no properties that didn't sell at tax sale, which is kind of a first for Johnson County. So, we'll do the best we can with that.
So the only thing specific is it has requests of $100,000 would have to be spent in the TIF district.
Yes.
Okay. I would entertain a motion for granting the $100,000 to the Franklin Development Corporation.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck this year.
Thanks.
So they'll need to come back next month for a formal written appropriation, so I'll get that published.
And a resolution. Okay. We have to have a public meeting. So next month, our next meeting, we will try to approve with a resolution.
I'm happy to email this to you all, the presentation, if you guys would like
That'd
to
be
see some
great.
of those numbers too. I apologize, I just didn't have that finished until late last night. So.
Moving on, the September financial report.
So there's not a lot new here to report, just kind of an update on what's been spent under the resolutions that have been approved. I did add the Jim Block Road phases 2 and 3, and I think we also needed to discuss, Rob has received an email from G&H requesting their $100,000 TAP incentive for the relocation. That was through resolution, it's been approved through resolution 21-13. So Rob, do you want to talk about that now?
The G&H has complied with the economic development agreement that we reached with them, and they've submitted an affidavit that explains that they've hired
It's 100,000.
the number of employees.
Oh, is that right, Dana? 150?
We're gonna have a total of 150. I think this was based on the expenditures for the new equipment.
I think there were 3 things happening. So they've spent the amount, they spent over $200,000
Right.
on their own.
Mm-hmm.
They've entered into a long-term lease,
Mm-hmm.
and they've met their employment
Yes.
figures. And so that satisfies the agreement, so I think it's now time for us to pay them. But we've already appropriated that amount, so I'll put a voice vote is all that we need.
Okay, we would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2021-13 G&H Economic Development Agreement in the amount of $100,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll go ahead, Kristen.
Yeah, so just shows you at the top, just a high-level overview is the year-to-date expenditures through September. So this year we've spent just over $3 million out of this fund, which would leave our cash balance at 4.5 once we get our December property tax disbursement of $2 million. But we still have just under $2 million in remaining appropriations. So the estimated cash balance at the end of the year would be the $2.7 million for this account. And then we have the US 31 TIF districts on the next page. So this shows you that the bond payments, both of our bond payments, the January and July payments have been made. And then showing those remaining expenditures carried over from the bond for the amphitheater. Some of those outstanding items would leave this cash balance at about $596,000 at the end of the year. And that includes the latest, the Commerce Drive and Simon Road, the design right-of-way and construction inspection. That was taken out of this TIF district, the US 31 TIF district, so that's reflected in there as well. And then the last one is just on the bond itself for the US 31 design and the amphitheater, so you can see year-to-date expenditures through this bond has been $4.5 million. We do have 508 invested. We still have over $4 million in remaining appropriations, which leaves us with that negative bond balance, so we can spend that down. But that $854,000 is reflected in the US 31 TIF, so that's covered there. And those are just the updated expenditures on the appropriations and what's been spent through September. So, are any questions on any of those?
Anybody have a question? Thank you, Krista. Moving on, public comment and announcement. Mayor?
I just want to take this time to say, look at all these people in this room. We got the RDC, we got the FDC, we got the EDC, Franklin Chamber, Aspire, and all these people and Board of Works members, and we got 2 city councilmen that's here out of the 5 that's left. So that's a little bit of a joke there. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that's in this room. You're all movers and shakers. And I think what we talked about how great downtown is and how great our city is, it's because of people in this room, 3 city councilmen, sorry Sean, Four. No, four, we have four.
4 or 5 ain't bad.
4 or 5. We had four.
There's no votes being taken.
So anyway, I just want to say thank you again, because all of you people in this room is what makes Franklin what it is, and I was just sitting here admiring the leadership that's in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Amanda,
No updates.
that's surprising.
Nothing additional.
Rosie?
Well, I think that, as a lot of you know, the EDC awarded the Franklin Chamber a grant for the creation and the marketing of a community calendar. So we're working on that. Just wanted to give you an update on that. We're looking at different modules. We want to make sure that it's going to be something we're very proud of, and we hope that will launch in January.
Davey, anything exciting?
We'll be having an EDC meeting shortly after this, 9 o'clock, with potential new company coming in.
Would anyone else have a comment? Enlighten us. Any of the board? Any comments? Thank you for attending. Good luck to Franklin Development Corporation. Meeting's adjourned at 8:30.